Alright, reviewing the LG 24GS50F-B. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links, but let's talk about it. Firstly, this is a 24-inch screen size with a 1920 by 1080p resolution. This is a VA panel, and for the finish on this, it's obviously not glossy, it is a matte finish, but that matte finish is significantly less matte and less aggressive than most matte finishes on gaming monitors. That adds to better clarity, visual contrast ratio, and visual vibrancy of the colors, and that in fact does make this monitor significantly better. For the ports here, it says one DisplayPort 1.4, two HDMI 2.0s, and a 3.5mm audio out. For the refresh rate, this hits 180Hz, which is a really nice thing to have that little extra boost over your average 144. And this has FreeSync, which works well with G-Sync, no issues there. Now, if you're planning on using this with one of the consoles, either a PS5 or the Xbox Series X or S, compatibility here is good. For the PS5, this is compatible at 1080p, 120Hz with HDR, but no variable refresh rate. And for the Xbox Series X and S, well, it supports 1080p at 120Hz with no HDR, but it does have variable refresh rate support. So opposite based on PlayStation or Xbox. But yeah, this would be a great, very budget-friendly monitor for any of the consoles. With that, let's talk about brightness and HDR. Now, the brightness here, after turning off the Smart Energy Saver, make sure to turn that off. This actually tested at way better than its rating of 250 nits, which is on the dimmer side. It's definitely dim. I would say 250 nits is dim, 200 nits is quite dim. But this is rated at 250 nits. Well, after testing, this came in at 333 nits. That's impressive. Now, that's not anything crazy bright, but for this price point, that's very good. Now, HDR does nothing to increase its overall screen brightness. It is actually dimmer, and it's a very badly tuned HDR. This is not an HDR monitor though. It's not a con because you're not expecting it for this price point. Never put it in HDR, there's no point. But the colors are really good here. This covers 99% of the sRGB color gamut, so you don't have any wide color coverage here. However, this is able to output 10 bits of color at its full 1080p, 180Hz, which is great. As far as accuracy out of the box, it was pretty good with its white balance being, 6,700 kelvins with a 6,500 Kelvin target. So very close. The whites look very accurate. The overall colors weren't perfect, but they're not wildly off at all. And just straight out of the box, this looks great. To get the colors looking really accurate, I bumped down the green by 2 notches from 50 to 48, and that pretty much had this awesome. That did a lot for the accuracy. So you can try turning down your greens just by 2 from 50 to 48. Didn't touch the reds, didn't touch the blues, and that might do something for you. Obviously, there's gonna be some variance panel to panel, but it might do something for you. If it looks better, well, keep it. You're just gonna have to use your eyes and visuals for that. Now, saturation out of the box was great. The colors look vibrant. It's much more beautiful than you would expect for this price point. Obviously, with a PPI of 1080p at 24 inches, you are gonna see some pixelation. That's really the thing that takes away from the beauty here, but you have a thinner matte finish that's not as aggressive, and you have better color saturation, you have a good white balance, and that really adds to a beautiful monitor. Add that resolution, bump it up to 1440p at 27 inches like its bigger brother monitor, which we are gonna talk about in the price and value section. Yeah, that's where this gets really beautiful. But for the price point, this is one of the most beautiful VA panels you'll probably see at this really low price point. Talking about contrast ratio, it's a VA panel, this hits 3000 to 1. However, when you have a thinner matte finish or a glossy finish, this doesn't have a glossy finish, but the less of a matte finish you have, the better visual contrast ratio. It will typically test not that much better versus a glossy versus a matte, or an aggressive matte versus a thinner matte finish. But visually to your eyes, there is a significant boost in your visual contrast ratio. So this does look significantly better. The blacks are not like OLEDs. I don't want to make it seem like that, but it does look better than your average gaming monitor, especially in this price point, even if it's a VA panel. But how is the gaming performance? Because this is a VA panel at the end of the day. Well, typical of VA panels, this has much more ghosting in the darker areas and less ghosting in the lighter areas. Now, in the brighter areas, this thing is really quite fast. If you were gaming on a brighter map, let's say in COD, and I just said, hey, sit down and game on this, you really wouldn't notice any ghosting. It's really quite fast. It's impressive for a VA panel. You wouldn't even know it's a VA panel. However, in darker areas and dark maps and night maps, things like that, you do notice ghosting. It does become apparent there. Now, if you set the response time to the fastest setting instead of just the fast, which is the second one down, then it does cause some pixel overshoot in the brighter areas, but then in the darker areas, it does significantly bring down the ghosting. So you might want to play between fast and the fastest response time setting. Whether you're in a dark map, you might want to set it in the fastest response time setting, and then when you're in lighter maps, you might want to set it back up. Not a problem because the menu system works really quickly, but yeah, just something to maybe play around with once you get the monitor, if you get the monitor. For standard build quality, it's actually better than you would expect for this price point. It looks much more premium and it's very sturdy. However, it only has tilt adjustments, so no height, no swivel, none of that. And the problem is, because this is a 24-inch monitor, it sits pretty low on the desk. Now, VA panels, they will wash out if you go far to the left, right, or up and down. You do want to be in the center and look directly at the center of VA panels. So that becomes a problem because it's probably going to be too low for most people. I'm an average height and it's definitely too low for me. So if you're going to get this monitor, I do recommend getting a monitor arm. You can clamp it to your desk with no drilling. And because of the weight of this monitor, it's so light, you can get a really good one for between 25 and 35 bucks. I'll also link that below. And it's very easy to mount because this does have a 100mm by 100mm Vesa mount. But with that, let's talk about the menu system and controls. LG is the king of menu systems. This one is a downgrade in terms of its visuals, but functionally it works the same. You use a joystick to turn it on and off, or all of the functions essentially. It's in the bottom chin of the monitor, which is exactly where it should be. It works quickly, it's very easy, there's no learning curve, it's very well laid out, and all of the settings are, well, easy to read. There's nothing weird here. It's the best menu system in the game. All right, but now the most important section of the video. This is price and value, and should you buy this? Now, this comes in at a price tag of $129.99, and this is a great monitor. It is a really refined VA panel, and its price point, you don't really find VA panels this well refined. However, the bigger brother to this monitor is the LG 24GS50F-B. That's a 27-inch screen size, and that bumps it up to a 1440p resolution, and then obviously a bigger screen size at 27 inches. 1440p at a 27-inch screen size gives you significantly better PPI. The image looks much more beautiful. Just those two changes make for a significantly better experience. And currently at the time of filming, that monitor is on sale, and it has been on sale pretty typically, for $169.99. And at that price, I highly recommend you just spend the extra $40 to get that monitor over this monitor, as that is a much better experience. The value there is enormous. However, if that monitor is not on sale and this fits your price range, you seem like you want it with everything that's in the review, then it's an excellent budget monitor and I definitely recommend it. But again, if you want to check out this exact same monitor or the other higher end LG monitor, Amazon links below. Please check both of the prices at least, because 40 bucks is not very much money to upgrade significantly. And also I'll have that monitor arm linked below, the one that I recommend, that I have used and tested out pretty thoroughly. But yeah, this is Type-C Tech Reviews, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want me to do a side-by-side comparison, I don't think it's really necessary for the 60 versus this 50, but you can let me know below in the comments. But really, they're basically exactly the same panel. Only real difference is 1440p and a bigger screen size. That's really it. But yeah, this is Type-C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.